Robert says, hi, Dutch and James. Love the show. Both of you do a great job. Thank you. You have talked numerous times about Bruiser Brody. So once again, Brody, not selling for anyone. I've seen a Japanese tag team match between Bruiser and Stan Hansen versus Harley Race and Nick Bockwinkel, where it looked like Bruiser sold basically nothing unless Race made him. But I recently saw a match with Bruiser versus Dusty Rhodes, 1978 in Houston, where Bruiser sold almost everything Dusty gave and made Dusty look great. Do you think he did this out of respect for Dusty? Did he do it for the money? Again, great show. So why would Bruiser choose to sell for some people and then most other people he wouldn't at all?
Well, his bread and butter was Japan. That's why he's not going to sell for anybody over there unless he just has to. And he didn't have to sell for Harley or Nick Bockwinkel because Harley and Nick Bockwinkel were going back home. He was going to be coming back in about a month. And if they video this match, this was probably a match they played back on TV. And no, he didn't sell unless, Harley made him sell, which I don't know how you can make Brody sell if he didn't want to. But then since Japan was his bread and butter, and I heard at one point they were making like 20 grand a week. That's back in 1980s dollars. That's a lot of money. Totally a lot of money. And why did he sell in Houston? Because of Dusty? Because Paul Bosch paid well. Paul Bosch was probably in the wrestling business at the time. Everybody that ever worked for Paul Bosch said, without a doubt, he's the best payoff man in the business. Because promoters weren't trusted with gate totals. You couldn't trust them because nobody else saw it but them. But what Paul Bosch would do, he would put out a sheet. And I don't know if everybody got it, but I've seen some of those. They're like, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000 houses back then. And the main event, if they were four, they'd get like $12,000 of that $60,000 house. That's a lot of money because he didn't hold back. If he lost money, I guess he would just rethink his main events. I think he ran every 2 weeks, Houston, or it might have been every month, but always a good crowd in there, always. And I enjoyed working with Paul Bosch, good talker. And I think that everybody that ever met Paul Bosch came away thinking that he's a good guy.
With that being said, with Bruiser Brody selling or no selling or deciding whatever, you obviously were in Puerto Rico with him a decent amount, obviously, before he was killed. Did he do a lot of selling in Puerto Rico then? Did he, or would it all depend on, one, if it was televised, or two, if there were Japanese photographers present?
Well, if there were Japanese photographers present, he didn't sell nothing. Because back in those days, that was how I don't know how many video cameras they had. I never saw one, but I did see several Japanese photographers. Of course, they were tipped off by Brody where he was going to be. And they made the trip all the way from Japan to Puerto Rico. That's a long, long trip. So, and no, his whole deal was that Brody was unstoppable. And we've seen the match with Lex Luger, right? We've showed that here, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't sell nothing. And I have, even to this day, I've never understood his thinking on that at all. So, I mean, a guy going over the top of a cage, it's not like you getting pinned, but he just beat Lex up and Lex couldn't do nothing. And it looked like Brody didn't even want to work with him, tell you the truth. And he just fluffed it off like, I don't care about this match. But why he treated Japan totally different than he treated the United States.